The M1928A1, or more commonly referred to as Tommy Gun, is arguably one of the most iconic weapons of World War II. And as level 20 unlock for the medic, it is also the last weapon that you actually get amongst the SMGs through your regular progression tree. Therefore, in today's weapon review, what I wanted to do is take a closer look at the stats of the weapon available, what specializations I would recommend when using the weapon, how it compares to some of its closer competition within the SMG category of weaponry, and lastly, of course, how to get the most out of this weapon when using it on the battlefield. Starting off though with the stats, as we always do. The Tommy Gun comes with a damage model typical of an SMG, with a maximum damage of 25 and a minimum damage of 13.2. Guaranteeing you of course a 4-shot kill in extreme close quarters, and eventually dropping off to a 8-shot kill. This is of course not considering headshots. When it comes to the actual damage drop-off points, you'll be getting a 4-shot kill within 10 meters with this weapon. Between 10 and 30 meters, you're going to be looking at a 5-shot kill. Between 30 and 50 meters, a 6-shot kill. Between 50 and 75 meters, a 7-shot kill. And after 75 meters, in true typical SMG pea shooter fashion, you're looking at a 8-shot kill. In terms of fire rate, however, this somewhat makes up for its relatively poor damage at medium range. Not necessarily that this is, of course, a medium range weapon. At 720 rounds per minute, it is the second highest without any kind of specializations being taken into account amongst the SMG category of weaponry as of writing this review. Its magazine, unsurprisingly, is thus relatively constrained with only 2 shots available, but its reload is pretty decent. With a short reload of 2 seconds, it is significantly faster to reload the weapon with still 1 bullet left in the chamber than it is to go for the long reload when you've shot through all of your bullets at 2.95 seconds. In terms of recoil, no surprises here. Things aren't exactly rosy with 0.7 vertical, but no additional, so your recoil is always 0.7 per shot vertical and 0.45 to the left or right. What's interesting about the SMGs, and it's actually worth noting in this case because you tend to hipfire your SMGs quite regularly, is that your recoil is a little bit lower when hipfiring at 0.06 vertical, but you do have your recoil going up over time. It increases by 0.05 on a per shot basis. But moving on to the accuracy of the weapon, typical SMG values to be found here: 0.15 in terms of your base spread while aiming down sight and not moving, 0.3 while aiming down sight and moving simultaneously, so for example when you're strafing while shooting, and 1.2 for your hipfire. All of these values can of course be improved with the help of the right specialization selections. And when it comes to those specializations, well, there is many ways to go. If you consider your weapon arsenal as a whole for the medic class, specifically the existence of the Suomi, I think it's more sensible to try and make the Tommy Gun a more flexible close quarter beast, whereas focusing the Suomi on the exclusively close quarter hipfire mania role. Thus, in my opinion, I think the Tommy Gun is best equipped with quick aim, that's 33% faster aiming down sight, although if you're somebody who prefers the weapon switching slings and swivels upgrade for 15% faster weapon switching between your primary and secondary, that is absolutely an option as well here. And then you basically go right side with an upgrade to the horizontal recoil of this weapon, taking it down from 0.45 to the left and right to 0.375, which is a noticeable upgrade, especially given that horizontal recoil is quite severe on this weapon. An upgrade to its magazine size, taking it from 20 all the way up to 50 rounds, which turns it into an absolute beast when it comes to taking on multiple targets either at the same time or successively. And then lastly, you can either go for the better vertical recoil, which is what I did, but taking a closer look at the stats, it doesn't seem to make too much of an actual difference. And thus, if you find yourself still hipfiring the Tommy Gun quite frequently, which given its good hipfire would not be something bad to do, you can also stick to the right side, going for better sustained accuracy while hipfiring. Now, you could absolutely go for the left-hand side tree and turn this into a small mag hipfire beast, but personally, I find the Suomi a little bit better suited to that role because it already has a faster fire rate, and once more, like the Tommy Gun, can also see a fire rate upgrade. And if you go with a small mag and a hipfire upgrade on the Tommy Gun, you really are starting to look at a gun that most situations will only be able to take out one target, and that exclusively in close quarters. And if I'm going for a hipfire beast machine in close quarters, I don't only want a weapon that's good at hipfire, I want a weapon that doesn't mind missing a few shots because my target's dancing all over the place, and thus a little bit of a larger magazine would be absolutely welcome. But having talked about the stats and specializations of the Tommy gun then, well, how does it compare and who is its competition? Well, the Tommy gun within the SMG category of weaponry only really has one relevant competitor, and that is the Suomi. Slightly higher fire rate at the expense of more recoil. That is very much a matter of what you prefer and how you interpret the Suomi and Tommy's recoil. In other words, if it's too much or if you find yourself comfortable with a little bit more, both vertical and horizontal recoil. For me personally, I see the Tommy gun as the more flexible weapon. I also run it as a weapon where I frequently not only hipfire but also ADS, and thus is a little bit more capable at a variety of game modes and not just there for exclusively close quarter modes such as domination, certain instances squad conquest, but also of course TDM. Outside of the medic class of weaponry, that's where the SMGs, well, shortfalls in their damage model really start to show. Because as soon as you meet the M1907SF and you're outside of 30 meters, you're at a serious disadvantage. For a matter of fact, outside your 5-shot kill range, you usually require 1 or more bullets more to take down the targets than comparable assault rifles, LMGs, or MMGs would, and all that while usually having more recoil to deal with, which is of course a bit of a bummer. Which means in using this weapon as effectively as possible, what you really need to be doing is sticking to exclusively close quarter and making use of your smoke gadgets to enable yourself to get and engage people in close encounter combat. Now, thanks to your large mag and with a bit of patience, tap firing, or even single shot firing, you can extend the range of the Tommy gun beyond, let's say, 30 or even 50 meters, but there is a wealth of weaponry available to other classes, even amongst the SMG category of weapons, that are better suited to those engagement distances, and thus focusing with this weapon on close, maybe close medium ranges is a far more successful playstyle to go with. It also means that this is one of the few weapons I find in Battlefield 5 which lean themselves nicely to an extraordinarily aggressive, in-your-face run and gun playstyle. Your hipfire is good, your fire rate is good, your magazine size is good. As long as you're close enough to your target, they don't really stand a chance unless they're running a Suomi or they're running a shotgun, which, well, isn't usually the case, and as such, especially on those smaller game modes on Squad Conquest where it's easier to make sure you engage people on close quarters, in my personal opinion, I found running this weapon effectively actually very easy and most enjoyable at that. It's, as it stands now, my favorite SMG amongst the medic class of weaponry. Maybe we'll get some more SMGs as Battlefield 5's life cycle continues, but as it stands now, nothing comes close to the Tommy gun for me personally in terms of its effectiveness. So if you're wondering if the weapon is for you, if you're somebody who likes close encounter combat, who needs a weapon who's capable at those ranges and still wants to play the medic class, at the same time doesn't want to be exclusively hip-firing people down, and if they have to engage somebody at 25, 35, 40 meters, isn't going to be absolutely helpless, the Tommy gun fits just that niche. If you're just run and gun exclusive close quarters, all targets only under 20 meters, the Suomi gun is your better choice. And if you want something more flexible, then you definitely need to look beyond what the medic has to offer and start looking at the semi-automatics or the ARs and LMGs available to various other classes. That being said though, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on the Tommy gun. What have your experiences been with this weapon and how successful have you been with it on the battlefield? If you found this video helpful, interesting, or at all entertaining, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. But with all that being said, I'd like to thank you very much for watching and hope to see you in the next Battlefield 5 video.